Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. Got a great comment, some great feedback here from Tobias Michel. I think I'm saying that right, Tobias, I hope. And basically, Tobias has two main issues with the Sony a6300, and he also provides some insight into Jason Lanier's lenses. So, Jason Lanier, for those of you who don't know, you can look him up on YouTube, but he's a big Sony fan, big Sony fanatic. He was espousing the virtues. He's probably Sony's best salesman long before they brought him on as a salesman, and perhaps that's how he got the job. Anyways, Tobias says, as a Sony user since 2012, and he says brackets, as the NEX cameras were good for video already back then, I agree 100%. The missing lenses and the Sony colors are my main issue, and I think this was in reference to a video we talked about the lenses that are missing from the Sony lineup. I just bought a used 1990 Nikon Tokina zoom lens with f2.8. There is no cheap alternative at all by Sony. The lens is manual, and he says brackets, fine for video, but huge and heavy. Only alternative with autofocus is a Sony Alpha A mount lens with adapter, and he says brackets, also huge, but not as heavy, I think, but costs pretty much 9 times as much. And he says brackets, Jason Lanier uses A-mount lenses on his a7R2 and a6000 to get autofocus. Really, if you aren't into the Sony system from before and need a cheap 4K camera that is small, light, and has a mic input for video, don't buy the a6300 or the a7R2. Get the Panasonic Lumix G7. And he says brackets, has also way nicer colors. And he says, my thoughts. So there's some good thoughts from Tobias. As I've said before, I've said quite a few times, that is where I feel Sony really needs to patch up their offering, is their lens lineup, because you can't get really decent lenses for the E-mount lenses, like for the a6300, at a good price point. In the sense of, Canon and Nikon have had a huge lens lineup, and they've got some really good value lenses that are very sharp, some very fast ones like their 50 f1.8s, their 35 f1.8s, for a much more economical price. Even their kit zooms, while they're slow in aperture, are decent performers. They're pretty sharp, pretty good performing lenses as far as just image quality, if you're not looking at just speed as far as aperture. So this is something where Sony's not there yet, and they need to pull up their pants. Tobias, gives an example. What he did was he got an older Tokina Nikon mount with f2.8 that he's, I'm presuming, then using on his Sony through a converter, or an adapter, I should say. And he's talking about how Jason Lanier, he's saying, uses A-mount lenses on his a7R2 and his a6000. So, if you're espousing a system, but you need to step up to A-mount lenses via adapters and things like that, that's an extra cost, and especially if you want to get the autofocus to get into either the Sony adapter or the Metabones adapter, is a fair bit of extra money. So for a camera that you're buying at $1,000 for the body, the Sony a6300, it's a lot of extra money when you're not going to be satisfied, most likely, with the kit lens that comes with it, because that kit lens is a bit of a weak performer. So, and I would agree with them. If you're primarily interested in video, the G7's probably a better option, because it's much less expensive, but has a much better plethora of micro four thirds lenses available. The kit lens is pretty decent. Lots of good little lenses out there, fast ones, and you can use just about anything via adapter as well, and you're getting the camera for half the price. So, good points from Tobias. What do you guys think? Do you agree with them? Leave some comments below. Do you disagree? Let us know why. Let's discuss it. And thanks for tuning in, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.